What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Logic Bomb Podcast, episode 24. We got a special guest for you today. You see him on the screen there. That's Easilyy. He's a pro player for the Susquehanna Sonics. Easilyy, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Thank you guys for having me. Like Flank said, I'm a pro for the Sonics and happy to have this opportunity to be here with you guys.
Excited to have you on, man. And for anybody watching, if you hear me say Kevin, I'm referring to Easilyy moving forward. Okay, that's normally what I call him here. I've worked with Kevin before on a couple different Pro and Potatoes episodes, and I've got to hang out with him some at some lands. So that if I say Kevin, it's Easilyy I'm referring to. But we're gonna just talk about some Siege stuff today. Of course, I kind of want to start out here with just in general. How's your guys' season going so far? I have some thoughts. I personally feel like this season's a little bit harder than previous seasons. I don't know if it's a global ranks. I don't know if it's the meta. I don't know what it is. But for me, talking about ranked, this season's been going a little bit rough for me. What about you guys?
I'm kind of on the same boat with you. As like a pro level player, when you're playing in like diamond and champion level ranked, like you should be probably some of the best players out there. But my thing with this season is like I'm constantly running into like level 60s through 100s that I've never seen before, have some of the worst movement, but have some of the best aim. So I absolutely cannot tell who's cheating and who's not. I cannot tell what's going on this season. But from my personal experience and what I'm hearing from other pros is that this is the worst season for ranked by far so far that I've ran into.
I would agree up until I wouldn't say it's the worst. I would say which one was it? Was it Blood Orchid, where they started flying?
That one was pretty bad.
That and then season 1 before even fair fight when you knew like 3 rounds in you had to run 5 shields or you're just gonna get mutilated. That was terrifying. But at least you could tell. I
was fortunate enough to not play PC at that time, so I would say this is probably one of the worst ones for me.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. It's weird though because you get this paranoia now because I have the same. Like you open it up and you see 1 or 2 people that are like lower than level 90 with an anime picture, and like,
yep,
yeah, you're never gonna know because they're either gonna get 0 kills and it's just gonna be weird, or they're gonna drop like 15 kills, and at least half of them are wallbangs, and you're sitting there thinking I don't know. Like I really don't, and you do that for a whole day, and now you're paranoid because one of the anime picture players at level 60 is gonna spin bot around the whole map and one tap everyone. So you never know when they're gonna toggle. It's terrifying.
Yeah. I actually kind of have like a thing where I have an alt account that I play on that. It like I stream on it, but like it's not like the name's not Easilyy or anything. So I'll play like ranked on that account, like solo queued, whatever, while I'm streaming, and then I'll play against somebody because that account's pretty similar to ranked to my main, and I'll go on my main, and when I'm on my main, they won't cheat because they know I'm a pro player streaming. But when I'm on my Smurf, I'll still be streaming, but they won't know that it's me. But then they'll be going like full blatant, dropping like 15. So you just never know with the people these days.
Man, but it gets extreme. Like we've had people actually today that where the cheaters used match cancellation.
Oh, really?
To dodge us. Just to not get seen. Like that's insane.
Yeah,
right?
that is. Yeah.
Have you when you play on your Easilyy account, Kevin, have you ran into people dodging you with using that yet?
Yeah, yesterday actually, me, Bosco Fultz, and like a couple other pros, like we're stacking, and we had 3 matches in a row cancel on us. So,
I mean, but here's what. In order for that to happen, though, somebody's taking a hit on that squad.
The thing is the way the system works is the person who takes the hit, it's one person. They don't lose elo. They only get a 30-minute sanction. So if they're fine with taking that, then that's it. Yeah, they don't lose elo.
The sanction will stack.
It will stack. Yeah, the sanction will stack. But you do not lose elo for it.
They gotta change that.
So somebody, like whoever's on an alt account, a Smurf, whatever, they'll just be like, all right, well, I'll just go on another account.
Yeah, and then they just switch accounts, and then they're back to playing. They gotta fix that. Has that always been the case? If you abandon, you don't lose elo?
No. You've always lost elo.
Okay, they gotta fix that. Does that seems like a no-brainer? Am I wrong here? Am I missing something?
Well, I guess the point is if you DC, like if you actually disconnect, your things actually die out. you don't want to lose Elo for that one, right? Because
Yeah,
you could say that then at the end of the day, you might as well just surrender. If everyone's losing Elo anyway, then you might as well just surrender. It's the
don't
same
you have
thing.
to play 2 rounds before you can surrender, though?
Yeah, but then you might as well just allow people to surrender straight off the bat, right?
Yeah.
But then people are going to abuse it to get down in lower rank. Now people are abusing it because they have like 17 accounts and it doesn't matter. They get a 30-minute sanction, right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing circles back to let's just get it so you only have one account to play ranked on. Then scramble the names, problem solved. Right?
Yeah.
Like no one should know they're playing against Easilyy in a ranked game until the end of the game.
Absolutely. My thing is at least until, because you can only surrender during the prep phase of the first round, or cancel during the prep phase of the first round, right?
Yeah.
So I think you at least have to hide names until like the action phase of the first round starts, like at least. Because the thing is, right, like I will say we used it yesterday. Like my teammate Iconic actually took a hit for us because we were playing blatant cheaters, right? So we were able to cancel. But then the next 3 games in a row, we got canceled on because there's people that, because we were playing with Canadian who was actually unranked because he doesn't really play. So we were getting matched against like Plat 2s. And those Plat 2s were just like, all right, well, fuck this. Like,
you can't blame him.
Yeah.
You can't blame him.
I don't want to play this. And they just cancel
you just
out.
have Jeff and his boys sitting there wanting to play a little bit of Siege late night.
Yeah.
They're in like the high-ish elo, and then they come against the full stack of pros. That's got to be fun.
I mean, I understand it, but at the same time, like on my end, like I'm trying to stream and I'm getting canceled on 3 times in a row. And then it's like 5 10-minute queues in between. So like, it's just like I streamed for like an hour and a half and played 1 game because of cancellations.
When you think about it, the scrambling the names thing would solve a lot of problems.
Oh, I agree, definitely.
Like this is just one of them.
So like, make it so you can only play rank on 1 account. You could have 20 if you want to. You can only play rank on 1 account. You scramble the names, then done. That's it.
So here's a question: like, do you know how would you enforce the 1 account in rank? Would it be you'd have to list a phone number, or like how would you?
I think there's quite a few things you could do. So, like there's a lot of small security measures that could be taken. Like, you could use the hash code of like the Uplay itself. So unless you're launching in different VMs and stuff, you're not going to be able to use more than that 1 account. You could have an actual like proper phone number authentication for your ranked account, because we already have 2-factor to play ranked, right? Mm-hmm. Just scale that 2-factor up to having to be a physical phone, because right now you can use Gmail and Google Auth, which can just run on your PC. Mm-hmm. And then you can filter out all the like the online and one-time use numbers and stuff. You can filter all of those out when you set up like a phone authentication. So that could be done, and then make an incentive to actually play on the same account. I had a discussion with actually a guy I've known. I'm not gonna name drop him, but a guy I've known all the way back from like I think year 1, maybe year 2. Like he has a really high level account, but he plays a lot on a second account now. But that account is like level 80, and maybe his main is like level 300 or 400 or something, right? Why is there an incentive on someone that isn't like people will notice him, they've seen him before, but it's not like everyone that's going to play against him is going to know who he is or can, like, he doesn't stream, right? So no one's going to snipe him. No one's going to like act different because they're against him. And even if they were, well, then name scrambling would help. But why does that guy default to jumping on a Smurf account that's level 80 to play? Shouldn't there be an incentive to keep growing that account? And right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I kind of have that incentive. Like I don't want to earn a black ice skin for the AK-12 on my Smurf. Like that, you know what I mean? Like that's my incentive to play on my main more. Because I have 2 accounts. The one I try to mostly just solo queue on, and then my main usually I'm in a stack. I solo queue on it some as well. But I haven't really been playing on my solo queue account because of the battle pass too. Like I'm not gonna buy the battle pass for both, and I want to grind out the battle pass on the one that I get it for. So it's kind of an incentive there, but I don't think it's enough to obviously to completely stop people like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, I think like match decay and stuff like that might help, but that's also pretty hardcore. I have an extremely difficult way like mathing out how people end up on like level 60, 70, 80 accounts, because I have a second account. Sure, I play more than most. But my second account is level 300. Mm-hmm. Right? So how How's Jeff on his level 400 account on a level 60 playing? And how do we even see level 60 accounts at 100 or like at top elo after 100 games? That just shouldn't be it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they can enforce level caps to it, but on the other hand, you don't want a legit good player to be stuck beating gold 3s for 2 months because he has to rank past the level 100 or something.
See, that's what you guys need to start slumming with me down in gold. I think I'm gold 2 on my main right now, which I haven't been gold in a very long time. I haven't played in gold in a very long time. And to me, I don't think I've encountered any blatant cheaters this season. Blatant. But ranked has felt, I just feel like the gold 1 plat 3 games right now are like the normal like plat 2 plat 1 games. For me, that's what I feel like.
I definitely understand that, mainly because so I'm a person who does play on 2 accounts, right? I have my main account, which I'm usually playing with like pros and like other like high other comp players. But sometimes if like if I get on early, like there's people are still scrimming, whatever, I'll solo queue on my Smurf. And this season, like I usually get diamond like solo queue and plat 1 diamond and solo queue on my Smurf. I'm like plat 3 this season. I cannot get past plat 3. Like even at plat 3, plat 2, like that whole situation where you're coming up against these level 50s and like 60s, it's still happening in plat 3. Like, and the thing is, like, I really can't tell. Like, I literally could not tell you if they're legit or not. Like, it looks like sometimes they get lucky, sometimes they'll miss a full clip, sometimes they'll hit a shot that fucking Bolo wouldn't hit. You know what I mean? Like, I just literally cannot tell, and that's my main thing with Rainbow this season, right? Like, I feel like anyone who comes in my chat or anyone I talk to about the game is just like, dude, like, I don't know if these guys are cheating. Like, I talked to Antero and Troy about this on their thing the other day. Like Parker was even saying, Parker said, "I'm in gold and I don't know if half these people are cheating." Right? Like it's like I just feel like these last 2 seasons have just been like different than before.
But the paranoia is worse than if they actually are. That's what bothers me, because what if it is a really good up and coming player, right?
Yeah.
Fuck, I would hate to sit there and think he's cheating, but I do, because it's just more likely. That's the horrible thing. One of the games I played today, there wasn't a single player under level 200. And I have never felt as confident in a game this entire season as that. I was like, dude, I don't care. Like, I'm so happy these guys all are like level 300, 400. Yeah. They have years of experience, and I'm more relaxed playing against them than the game before that had 2 weebs at level 60.
Oh, absolutely. Because
I was shaking, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because the thing is like as someone who plays often and like is diamond every season, whatever it may be, right? Like you should be better than most of the people. But like if there's like some like level 60 or 70 out there, like who's like just gunning like the SSG stack and ranked, it's just like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, is he legit? Is he not? Like those are world champion players just getting gunned by like Courageous Carl or something. You know what I mean? Like whatever this guy's name is.
Do you have any suggestions, Kevin, on how you would address or try to fix cheating problems? I mean, obviously, Ubi put out a blog a dev blog last week talking about how they're, it didn't necessarily list any like actionable items, but they put out a blog that's like stating their philosophy when it comes to cheating and how they're taking it seriously, and but do you have any suggestions for how you would like to see them fix it?
They took the step this season, right, of making it 100 games for champion. I personally think there needs to be some kind of system where it's like you can't be champion until you're like at least clearance level 100, right? Because like in theory, you should never be like a champion level player unless you're level 100 regardless, right? Like, or even probably even higher than 100. So that's probably like one of my things, making it a higher level cry, because that's like the main reason like the cheating got bad, right? Because champions, people are like, I want to be number 1 champion, whatever it may be. And I think the 100 games thing kind of like maybe helped it a little bit, but at the same time, it kind of feels like the same as last season. Not really. I just feel like it hasn't really made that much of a difference in terms of like the cheating, at least like the closet cheating.
Well, there's definitely measurably less. The problem is that you still notice them just as much. So, think about a day of playing. If you play 5 or 6 games and you meet a cheater once, that day goes down as, oh, we played cheaters today.
Yeah.
Because you're definitely remembering that game with a cheater, even if you have like 4 or 5 good games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you have 2 or 1 game, or 1 game or 2 games with a cheater out of 6, doesn't matter to you, right? Like you're not really going to tell the difference a day or 2 down the road, but it's quite a big percentage change.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And with the global rank, I think we see there's definitely less level 60 champions up there now that have like 90 KD or some shit. So something has helped, but I just think they make such a big impact because there's so few players above. Like I checked mine today.
Yeah.
I think I was 4,500 was my peak this season, and then I just stopped caring after Diamond. But I'm plat 1 something now, right? And I am number 3,600 and something in the world on plat 1. That's not a lot of players, man, to be able to play against.
Yeah, I mean,
you say just 100 of those are cheaters, like.
Because you definitely notice playing at the higher ranks that you consistently play the same people over and over and over. So like, the thing is like, you're probably playing the same like group of guys, but just on different accounts, right? Because like maybe they get banned, whatever. Like you get hit with the rollback, so you might just be playing the same guys. It might just be like 15, 20 cheaters, but they have like 200 accounts to come between all of them. So at the same time, like I just think one of the main incentives, I feel like boosting hasn't really been that big of an issue anymore. Like I feel like a lot of the cheaters I come against are like closet cheaters who are like solo queuing even, right?
Yeah.
Like. Or they're just like a 5 stack of like all the guys cheating, like all 5 members of the squad are cheating, or like, you know what I mean, or like some, like at least like 3, 4 of them are suspicious. So it's not like really boosting is the problem. I think they're just trying to get their charm for the next season, whatever it may be. So I just think like maybe making it like a level 100 clearance, or maybe even 150 clearance to get champion rank, like make that kind of a requirement.
The
Go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, the destruction hackers, like the ones where they're queuing in a 5 stack just to cause a havoc, they don't really bother me.
Nah.
Because they're never gonna win, right? Like, sure, they're annoying, and then they're all gonna get banned, and at one point they're gonna give up. So they don't really bother me. The 2 that scare me a bit are the closet cheaters that want to get noticed for being good, and then they'll
and have
get
YouTube
noticed.
Channels.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, I'm not even going to give the asshole credit, but there was one that just got banned now. That for a long time, some people thought he was legit. Some people thought he was cheating. I think for most like decent players, it was pretty evident that he was on the juice. But he got banned and then just went mental, right? And started blatantly cheating instead after that. That, like, those are the worst because they are taking it away from the people that actually worked hard.
Absolutely.
Where there's someone that is legit good. And the people that played with that guy, they might have, let's just pretend like they were not aware, right? That's going to suck because from everyone that has played against them, all they're going to remember is, oh, you're the guy who played with them. And ooh, if you're an up-and-coming, like if you're 17, maybe good enough to join Pro League when you get 18, you don't want to be known for that shit.
Absolutely,
you just don't. It's career suicide, and it's horrible. I think that's the thing that I fear the most. And then the boosters that do it proper, where they have enough accounts that it doesn't matter if they lose them, because you can't really hurt them. They're gonna set their prices, so it's worth it for them, right?
Yep. Yeah.
You're never going to be able to hit them. What you can do is hit the ones that buy. So it's going to be the people trying to buy the boosting that has to take the hit there. I don't know if Ubisoft is willing to take the chance and just hit them with permabans. I think they should. I think that's the best way to teach people. But then there's people saying, well, you do dumb things when you're a kid. Yeah, but no one buys a boost by mistake, right? It's not like I just wanted to try it.
That's what I was getting ready to say, Alex. Is playing the last week of the season, the previous season, that was the worst that I saw cheaters all season, and it was blatant boosting. And I'm wondering if they found some type of loophole right there, where if they don't get banned by the end of the season, then they don't get banned for boosting. Do you know what I'm saying? Like maybe the hacker, the person cheating will get banned, but that person who got boosted, like it resets at the end of the season.
I think it's mainly because like the once that new update hits right away, they just get that charm, and then it doesn't matter if they get hit with a rollback, right? Because that was last
Right.
season; they already had the charm on their account.
Yeah.
And also, I think one of the main things that does play into it that I noticed, like last season, you were saying that last week was really bad because it was a free weekend. So those boosters were on those free weekend accounts and just like just boosting
Oh my
everybody.
gosh.
That's like the thing, right? Like that's one thing that like I've learned is no streaming during free weekends anymore for me. Like absolutely.
No.
not.
You have to. You just go quick play. Quick play is the
Or that,
goddamn.
yeah.
Yeah, that's free
Yeah.
content.
Watch
could
the
do that.
sledge beating on a
But-
reinforced wall.
But rank during the free weekend is unplayable. Like I got like I'm not even kidding, maybe like 4 or 5 games in a row with blatant cheaters on free weekend. And they were like level 52, 54, like whatever, like with 7 KD and going full blatant because it doesn't matter. It's last week of the season. If they get banned, it doesn't matter. So
Well, I'm definitely encouraged that Ubi put out that blog, and I think that they are. I mean, and there's no doubt they're taking it seriously. I personally, I don't think there's an answer outside of some type of premium matchmaking system. That's the only thing I see is like. But I know that that's super unpopular. Like you don't want to have to make people pay a premium price in order to not play against cheaters. But I just don't. I mean, every PC game's got it. That's the thing.
They're paying a price no matter what, though, right? So whether it's a premium service or whether it's just like the phone authentication, it's still a price because every gate you have to like. You're never gonna be able to stop cheating. You might make it so annoying for the cheaters that they simply at one point go, it's not worth it, because Warzone did add the phone thing. And that made every cheating forum just lose their shit, right? Because now they couldn't get in. Now nothing was going to work anymore. And they had to like get fake phones and then they don't work. And then they get hardware banned. And like now there's way too many things that they have to do. At least they do hardware bans in Siege. I think adding the phone thing or something like that, because there shouldn't be an issue. Like, if Siege was to go free to play, that shouldn't be causing an issue to ranked, right?
Yeah.
And it wouldn't cause an issue to ranked if every player that gets access only has access on one, because then once removed, they're not coming back. The problem with free weekend, or if the game was to go free to play, is that the guys who have been banned might be able to go and get more accounts.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice if we could have some sort of thing where we don't allow Siege to be played on a VPN at all.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good idea.
Facebook, if Facebook can figure out how to deal with VPNs, then I'm sure Siege can as well. Because if you get banned on Facebook and you try to VPN from any like known VPN service, it's not working. You're gonna have to like walk down to Starbucks and make a new account. It's just not gonna work. So VPN, if there's a VM running on your system, it just won't launch. I don't know if that's something BattlEye can feasibly do. I mean, like BattlEye has kernel access. It just doesn't run when Siege doesn't run, right? So when everyone's sitting there saying that Valorant's anti-cheat is magic for having kernel access, the magic thing is that it's running when Valorant isn't.
The PC.
Yeah. Which I don't even think it is anymore. Actually, I think they patched that out.
You can turn it off if you want. You can option.
Yeah.
You have the option.
Oh, okay.
But I think the important thing is to limit it, because as long as you can keep making new accounts and there isn't an incentive to stay on one account, then what stops people from just trying it, right?
Yeah. If
at least
accounts
it was
are viewed as disposable, then who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
and sure, 60. Wait, is it 60 or 50? It's 50 for ranked, right?
it's 50 right
50
now.
now. Yep.
Yeah. So 50 still. I can't remember who did the math on this. I think it was Jess actually did the math on it. It's like 70 hours or something, at least, or 100 and something to get there, right? So it's some time investment.
Yeah.
But what does an account cost? A level 50 account?
I know for sure, like there's like websites out there because like I've seen like all these like free weekend accounts, whatever, like, or sorry, not free weekend account, but like all these like accounts that cheaters bought, and they're probably like $5
For a level 50.
Yeah, like $5 or less. And the thing is, because it's like people who don't play anymore, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So, cheater's like $5, but I'm going to make whatever from this boosting service. So that $5 is nothing to me, right? So my thing is like, I think if they do some kind of like prime matchmaking service, like you said, I would personally like it to be something where it's like a prime matchmaking service is level 150 or 200, but it's optional, right? Like I can turn that on and hopefully only queue into people over level 200, and that could run into an issue with queue times, especially at higher ranks. But like at the same time, I could turn it off whenever. But I just feel like there has to be something because like the chances of someone cheating when they're over level 200 is very low.
Much less, yeah.
Like very low. So
What-
during the day, I think it could be fine.
What about if you had the option to only queue against people who own the season pass?
I mean, that's not a bad idea. I think that could definitely work. But at the same time, like there's probably a lot of people who don't buy the season pass that are like legit like high level players, and then that kind of like would take them out of the queue.
Well,
And
it
that,
could
like,
incentivize people to play on a main account. You
That's
know?
also true, yeah.
But I again, I don't really want to go that way. But that's where I go. Is like the only real cure to this is if you made a cheater pay $30 every time that they got on a new account in order to enter my matchmaking, then that would dissuade them. The problem there is you would force all those cheaters into people who didn't have the season pass, and their experience would be awful. So I don't know. I wanted to get your thoughts on the new ops though. As far as Malusi and Ace, do you have any big thoughts with them so far?
So far, obviously, like, I'm only speaking from a ranked standpoint. I think both of their kits are very, very strong, especially Malusi. Even with the nerf, I think she's kind of a little still too strong. I think the radius is fine as it is right now. I think the movement's slow, maybe still a little bit too slow. My main thing with Malusi though is that it has to be exploded or meleeed, and obviously like against a good team, you're never gonna really have the chance to melee it. So you're kind of like only really left with the choice to explode it. My like I guess quick change for her would be like maybe take one of them away and don't let them be Thatcher / Twitch drone to like open up a center part you can shoot, or make it so if she has all three, like a Thatcher or Twitch, can disable it and then you can shoot the middle, kind of like an Easilyy for Maestro. Yeah. So I think that's a pretty good change. I also think she should have a C4. I think a C4 on a kit like that is already too strong, because C4 is probably the best, secondary gadget for a defender. And then on top of that, she has two very good guns. She has a really good pistol and a really good SMG. So my thing with both of these new ops is there's really no downside to picking them. Like you know what I mean? Like you're always gonna be able to fit them into a lineup, kind of, right?
Yeah.
What do you give her then though? As secondary?
I mean, the thing is, she has. I would say like a secondary shotgun, like for rotations.
No, it's secondary gadget.
No, gadget.
Oh, sorry, gadget. Sorry. I'd probably say prox mines.
Then you got 5.
What, you had 5?
5 total avenues that she could.
Because my thing is, I don't think prox mines are as good as people think.
No, right. But damn, it's a lot of noise, man.
It is.
Operator.
But or barb, you could do barb too.
Yeah.
But I think the two strongest are obviously C4s and shields, right?
Right.
So you can't give her a shield because she already had a shield and she lost that for a C4. But I also think C4 is a little too strong for her. So I would say prox mines or barb. I think barb's personally stronger than prox mines, so I would give her prox mines. But like you said, that is a lot of noise on one up.
Yeah.
Do you think people are overreacting to how often they're banning her in ranked? Do you think there's a bit of an overreaction?
I mean, I think a lot of that comes with the ranked meta, right? Like the ranked meta is kind of just like run in, try to get fancy clips with like a G8 or Ashe or whatever it may be, right? So and Malusi kind of counters that, like it counters like the crazy aggressive plays. It's kind of like the old Legion, right? Like when Legion was OP, a lot of like plat level ranked would ban Legion because it would stop the crouch walking in the site, it would stop the random roaming, stop like the no info kind of get in 2 seconds. And I think Malusi does a pretty good job of that. I'm actually a huge fan of Malusi in ranked. Because it stops that kind of play style. And I think as long as she's this strong, like the way she is now, she will continue to be banned the way she is.
I think we can all agree, like, rank bans kind of suck in general. Like, what most people do is they just take something away they don't want to play against. It has nothing to do with, like, a strategical choice or anything, right? Like people will ban Mira on a map where Mira isn't even that good, where you can shoot all the canisters easily, and they'll ban Jackal just on every map, no matter what, right? Like, don't want anyone seeing your footsteps.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, Jackal is strong, but like, it's rare that you see bans that really make sense. Then you see the Thatcher ban because everyone in Pro League does it.
Yep.
Now they ban Thatcher and they can't figure out how to open the wall.
Yep.
They're just standing outside
so
going,
true,
ooh. And the one guy who picks Kali is not doing it for the tactical advantage. They are off, like 600 meters down Narnia Road trying to get a pixel peak for the YouTube montage.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like, I love the fact, and I had this rant before Pick and Ban came to rank. I'm a big fan of Pick and Ban, and I think it's great. I don't think we're adult enough when we play Siege to actually use it. I legit don't think we use it proper.
Dude,
absolutely. I
had kind of a revelation the other day where, and tell me if you guys think that I'm onto something here. I think if it wasn't for Pick and Ban, Echo and Clash would have been nerfed a long time ago. I think the fact that the majority of players can choose not to play against them has completely hidden how broken, really, or strong that they are. And if you had to play against Clash, Echo, and Melusi every single round, they would get nerfed way quicker.
Absolutely. I literally put out a tweet the other day saying that Comp Siege has been way more enjoyable without Echo in the game. You have way more freedom to ban. Like it's just been such like a breath of fresh air not having to play against Echo, because you got to realize with Echo the only effective counter is IQ, and at a high level in this meta, like even in ranked, I'm sure you guys know like all the utility meta like the Maestro, the Goyo, all the shields, whatever it may be, Wamai, Jaeger. You can't really bring IQ unless they have Echo, because she does not have ADS clear and she does not have explosives to clear out other utility. So it's kind of hard to fit IQ into a lineup unless there's an Echo up. Like even for just Valk alone, it's just like it's kind of just not worth it right now. So like just banning Echo has just been like such a breath of fresh air. And I do agree that like what Alex said, like the people are just choosing to do what they don't want to play against, right? There's literally no strategy to it. People don't like Echo. All right, well, no Echo then.
I kind of want to see what happens though with him losing the shield, because that's going to have a bit of an impact in comp play as well. If you're forced to bring another shield for him, that actually matters quite a lot. I don't know what they can do with Echo. I don't agree with the Clash thing. I don't think Clash needs to be nerfed. I think Clash is a gimmicky, fun operator that has use, but if you don't get like massive value out of her right off the bat, you're basically playing a 4v5, even in comp. Like compared to a Monty, there are so many cases where a Clash just ends up being dead weight and not even close to what you otherwise could have had. Echo at least guarantees value.
Kevin, did you watch? I want to talk about this Clash thing, Alex. Give me 1 second. Did you watch the DG versus SSG match last night?
I did, yeah.
Does SSG win that without Troy bringing the Clash on those last few rounds?
I mean, it's obviously hard to tell, but the Clash did play a major role into them winning, mainly because the thing with Clash is like you might have a push set up, right, where you're just like, okay, we're gonna Zofia stun entry, like this is how we're gonna take this, like we're gonna Zofia stun this corner while we entry here, so that guy can't help. With a Clash, that whole plan kind of goes out the window, right? Because you have to use your Zofia stuns for the Clash. So, like, obviously we could sit here and talk about, I mean, maybe it plays out different, maybe it doesn't. But I will say that the Clash definitely played a huge role in getting them that win, especially that last round, because both those guys' armory side couldn't even move, and they're walking into a shotgun because the Clash is just making them so they're pretty stationary. And then Troy gives a simple Z mark on the ground, thinking they just pre-fires with the shotgun, and it's over.
Yeah, go ahead, Alex. I didn't want to interrupt you there,
I want to add
like,
something.
Yeah.
So it's all fine and dandy, but it's a little, in my opinion, strawman to pull out and say, do they win without Clash? Maybe they could have played a different strat. Maybe a completely different operator. Maybe
exactly.
they challenged earlier, whatever, right? It's like the whole idea of old Yin Glass meta. If you sit on site and they get to execute, you're going to lose. That's it. Like defense, you're going to lose if Glass and Yin gets to attack an old Clash Yin meta. But if you played aggro and you just picked one of them off, you're most likely winning, right? So with Clash, new Kali, by the way. Absolutely destroys Clash.
Yep.
Clash has no chance.
Yeah.
The reset makes it so now if you shoot Clash, so her shield always has bounced, right? But you can get a second shot off on the same spot before she lowers the shield again.
Oh, really? Actually, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there is nothing Clash can do if there's Kali. So, with Thatcher being banned so much, and Kali actually having good SMG now, she's like the counter.
Definitely.
Then we got Capital. He's pretty damn good. We got Gridlock. Throw a Trax behind a Clash. If there is a Trax getting stuck between her feet and the shield, she will take constant damage, even if she isn't moving. And it's actually hilarious because she's screaming and just instantly dies pretty much. Grenades is a little difficult, but can be done. Any kind of flashes. All shields are better against Clash than Clash is against them. Eventually, right? Sure, they do damage, but once you get up there, you can melee Clash and do damage to her, and she can't do anything. So there are so many ways to do something against her. She's also generally standing still and can't do any kind of vertical fighting. So if you do destroy above or below her, Clash is very, very weak. The problem I have with when we see Clash in competitive, like the drone hold trick was cool on Clubhouse. But the fact that they stay out there for 1:30 and look at it instead of just going, oh, this is smart, let's do something else, right? Like that's a fault of them, not the operator being busted. I think it's fine if it happens one round, but we don't judge an operator being OP by one team getting clowned on for one round.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that going into next round, they're not going to try the same thing, right? And if they do, honestly, then it's not the operator, then it's the team that has the issue.
Yeah. I don't think Clash is OP. I think Clash.
No, you said nerfed.
I think Clash should be. I think Clash is a broken concept for an operator in an FPS game. Personally, that's where I stand with it. I think that Clash isn't fun to play, and she's not fun to play against. And that's just like, why have an operator in the game that represents either of those? Now, that's personal opinion. There might be some people who sit behind Clash's shield, zapping people and thinking they're having the time of their life. You know, competitive players have fun if they win. That's it. You know what I mean? So if you play Clash, I don't care if I'm bored and I'm just hitting the zap button. If we win the round, I'm good. You know what I mean?
I 100% get you. But the problem with going down that road is you need to accept a certain amount of things you don't like in a game. Because if you get all the things you like, you're not going to be playing the game anymore.
My fear with Clash is that we are just like starting to break that kind of a cusp on a Clash meta. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here. Clash is being played significantly more this season in NA than what we've ever seen before.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're also seeing defense win rates are, correct me if I'm wrong, higher in NA than what they typically are this season. Now, that could be 2 new maps interjected, you know, Oregon and Theme Park are being played a good bit, and that could be part of the factor there. But my fear is that as a spectator watching Pro League, I don't enjoy watching Clash rounds. I find it, and maybe it's because I recognize how hard it is to play against the Clash, or how frustrating it is for me to play against the Clash, that I don't know, I don't enjoy watching it either. But I just think that if we get to a point where if you don't ban Clash, she will be in every round of ranked, that will hurt this game for the average player.
That will never happen in ranked.
Yeah, I don't think it would ever happen, mainly because, like you said, it's not fun to play, and most of the people are just like, you know, casual players trying to play for fun. And I think a majority of people would agree with you, right? Like, it's not fun to play. Even playing it in comp, it's not a fun operator to play, but it does get results. It does get you wins, and that's why it's picked in comp, like Dark Zero, for example, like pretty prominent Clash team, right? Like they ran it against us, they ran it against TSM. They really like Clash. I highly doubt Mint likes just sitting there like on a shield and zapping people, but it works. You know what I mean? Like if it works, like you're gonna do it. It's like the same with the old Ying Glaz meta. Like when you're on defense, you're not having fun at all. Like in the site, like when there's Yings and smokes going off, you're getting shot. But on attack, you're running it because it's the most effective thing. So,
I mean, I spent 1:30 in Blue Tunnel with Blackbeard for almost a year. That's not fun either, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you're just sitting still there holding a flank, that's all. It's not fun. It's about winning. As long as we split them between comp and rank, in comp, it should be mainly about, if we start seeing something that doesn't look like players have a way of ever figuring anything out of dealing with it, then I think Ubi should intervene. but I do think you should always leave long enough that we might see players actually change stuff. Because I'm still a little pissed about the reaction we saw with Ying. And then Ying not being played at all now. They just took one Candela away. Still, like,
yeah.
If she was that busted to create that outrage when she came out, she is still good now, right? Like she's still good. But as Troy was saying when we talked with him, like you kind of can't afford to bring her. So it doesn't matter that she's good. Because it's really, really difficult to justify bringing her into the round because you need the explosives.
Yeah.
Right? So we need other operators that are not unbalanced, but, well, I guess you can call them unbalanced, but lean very, very heavily in one direction. So we have options to, like, heavily offset the meta. Mm-hmm. And Clash is one of those where she does something that you cannot do with any other operator.
Right.
But she also has counters where she has she cannot do anything. No matter how good of a Clash player you are, if you get caught in the door frame at the right time, you're done. Like, no amount of help is ever going to save you, right?
Yeah.
Like the Kali double shot, for example, is a pretty good example. You're just done. Because you can't turn around, you can't walk away fast enough. And I don't know, like we're so okay with always seeing Kaid or Bandit and Thermite in a game, right? Like that's pretty stable. No one's ever gonna be like, why is all the walls always electrified? Why are the OG operators so okay to bring all the time? Right? Like, sure, Thatcher's starting to see some proper bans now, but it's been a long time since anyone has mentioned anything about Thermite and the size of the holes he makes.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think that you're right. I do think that, though, that there's a difference between an operator having a 70% pick rate that electrifies walls and an operator having a 70% pick rate that slows me down and does damage, meanwhile being protected behind a full shield. Like, that's really frustrating to play against.
Definitely.
But I
are we
think you're
talking
right.
combat or rank now?
Yeah. Yes. I'm referring to ranked.
Yeah.
I think that you're right. Like, when you look on paper at all of the counters that Clash has, especially the Kali one, because the Kali one can't be countered. Like, if you think about an air jab, you think about the gridlock, you think about the capital, all those can be countered by either ADSs or wall mine magnets. And, you know, they can keep you from having that desired effect that you want on the Clash. But when it comes to Kali and her sniper, there's nothing that can stop that.
No.
Yeah.
She just dies and she gets mad.
Yeah. I guess the problem in comp would be the 6-pick, right? If there's 6-pick in the Clash, I don't know.
Yeah, the thing is right now, like, Kali's good, but Kali's not a staple op that you're gonna bring every single round. So that's the thing, right, where the sixth pick comes into play. And my thing is too, right? Like, we talk about like OP ops, like you could say Malusi's OP, whatever. Like, my thing with Kali is, like, if you don't have a set plan with Kali, it's kind of hard for her to be OP, right? Like, some people, you need to have Kali, like, or not Kali, sorry, for Clash. You have Clash playing a specific area, like behind the throne or something, where she's like positioned to the point where even if she gets hit, her feet are covered, like behind like a bed or whatever. On Clubhouse Gym is like a pretty good one, right? Like, you kind of need to formulate a plan to bring her. So that's why I don't think she's like crazy OP, because you kind of have a general idea of going into the round or what you're going to do. But like, for example, like Malusi, like, you pick Malusi, like, there's no downside to picking Malusi. You can make it work wherever. Yep. So that's kind of like my difference on like how like those ops are kind of like OP, quote unquote. I don't think Clash is necessarily OP, but she just definitely is annoying to play against, not like a fun op. And I definitely think change-wise doesn't really need to be anything like done crazy to her, but it's just like the same thing with Ying and Glaz. Even when Ying and Glaz were good in comp, they really weren't fun in ranked either. Like, no one really played them in ranked too much either, at least like at a high level, because, you know, it's not fun ops to play. So for me, like, right now, it's not a problem in ranked.
What about?
I think.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to add. I think she's like a forced operator in the sense that when you see her, you have to do certain things.
Yeah.
And that's the interesting thing, in my opinion, in comp, and the annoying thing in ranked. Because in ranked, we're very, very bad at working together and solving stuff. We just want to run and gun, right? Yeah. And in comp, the reason, at least that I enjoy it, is because we see these like problems being solved. You can look at Cav the same way. Like Cav in comp theoretically forces you to always hunter with 2 people, because if you were to take a 1v1 gunfight, you give and you lose, you give the defenders a full new setup. Like all the defenders can fall back and set up, and you have to just run and hide, right? So, but we don't really see Cav that much, even though she would always force 2 people to hunt her. So if you're playing Clubhouse and you have Cav in Dirt Tunnel, you can't push Dirt Tunnel with 1 player anymore. You just can't. It's too dangerous, right? The same goes with if you have Clash there. Well, you're not going to be playing alone, because maybe someone's going to come refragging the shield. Maybe you're going to get baited forever. But we just don't see any use on the Cav. Maybe one day we will, but you're giving up a lot to bring Clash. Like you're giving up a ton.
It's and in risk.
Ranked, 100%. Yeah, in ranked, at least in like the higher elo right now, she is so rare, so very rare. She gets brought when you know there's a cheater on the other team, and that's about it, honestly.
Yeah. Honestly, like I said, like kind of you had that plan with Clash. Clash is like, if you're 5 stacking, Clash is probably a pretty good pick in ranked. But if you're solo queuing, and say I'm solo queuing, I'm not going to take Clash because, one, like my teammates behind me are not going to know like how to play around me. Yeah, they're just and then like the end, like I don't know, like when you're solo queuing, people don't have mics, you don't know what's being covered, you don't know when you're going to get shot in the back, whatever it may be. So Clash is just like, it's just not a great pick solo queue. But if you're in a 5 stack, definitely like a good pick.
You know where Clash is OP in ranked? Outback, dude. Either of the top floor sites on Outback, if you bring a Clash, you just sit on top of one of the stairs and nobody's coming that way. Because, I mean, you're on the top floor. I mean, I guess they could technically buck out below you. But, yeah, I've had so much success with, of course, you don't really need any help playing defense on Outback. But,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
That actually brings up a good point, because I've really enjoyed watching NA Pro League this season, and there's a lot of reasons for that. There's the new format, best of 3s. I think that the best team to the worst team in NA Pro League right now, that gap has closed significantly. Like everybody's competitive. Every match is really been fun to watch. But one of the things I'm really enjoying is how much we're seeing the reworked Oregon and Theme Park, 2 new maps into the map pool. Okay, now we've talked before on this podcast about how some of us would like to see new maps go into Pro League. And as a pro player, I guess, what do you say to that? And let me just add a little caveat that as a spectator, it is I've learned more about my setups and how to play Theme Park in 3 play days of NA Pro League and seeing you guys play Theme Park than I have in the 2 seasons that it's been out prior to that. You know what I mean? Like, you guys have taught me so much already. So do you sympathize at all with us saying, man, I'd like to see, I wish they would have thrown Outback in from the get-go. I wish they would have thrown Canal in from the get-go.
I mean, it like the way I see this is you never really know how good a map is until you see it in Pro League, right? Because that's when it's dissected, like completely, like every angle's found, whatever, right? I personally hated Oregon in ranked until it got put into the competitive pool. And now I'm actually a really big fan of Oregon, right? Like once you learn how to play the map. And I think honestly the same could be said with Outback. Like if Outback got put into Pro League and like it was dissected, all the angles were found, like it could be a good map. I'm not against new maps. I just think they need to be balanced a little bit better in advance so that they're not all so defender sided when they're put in the pool. Like Oregon, for example, is like it's kind of a strange map because it's kind of plays similar to the old Oregon, but not really at the same time. Like you're still pushing like same general direction, like you still might do a master push, but I apologize about that. But how you do the master push is going to be completely different, right? Like now you need to take Addict to do a master side take before you didn't. So I just feel like it's pretty good to diversitize how they do the takes. Like there's a lot of different splits you can do on the new Oregon that were previously not possible. And I feel like that's stuff that we're doing in Pro League now. Like when Oregon was just in rank, like the new rework, we never did before. But now that it's in Pro League, it's getting dissected, and I think the map is just like getting explored to like whole different heights, and I think it's really good for the game.
You said the thing with like maps have to be better balanced from the get-go, where they're less defender-sided. Do you not think that's dangerous because they stop being extremely defender-sided, and then through play, they even out a little bit more. So if you were to push them further, I think at some point they're going to become attacker-sided. And in Siege, the whole premise of the game with like breaking down the setup and stuff, defense kind of has to have a little bit of the power, because as soon as we start seeing something get attacker-sided, it becomes this monkey play where everyone's running around and really difficult to both follow and a little less enjoyable to play as well. Most of the attacker-sided maps have never, ever had any kind of love, right?
I agree in terms of like that they should be defender-sided, but I think like some of the newer maps are a little bit too defender-sided. Oregon, for example, theme park, like I'm pretty sure Oregon on some bomb sites has like a 75% defender win rate, right, over 3 play days. And I think that's a little bit too high. My main thing with that is that they've kind of stopped doing like exterior walls. Yep. And I'm kind of a fan of those, especially on maps like Consulate, for example, right? Like even though it's only one bomb site, like I feel like it gives you a lot of variety, right? Like you can do direct takes, you could do a full clear, like you have like a lot of different variations in how you can approach that attack, and that's kind of like all due to like the exterior walls. Like some of the newer maps, like Oregon, for example, like no exterior walls, right? Like you're kind of all coming in through doors, all coming in through windows, and I just feel like it's just kind of like tough. It's kind of tough to have that, at least when the map first comes out, especially in ranked, like to find a good avenue to attack it. Like Clubhouse, for example, is a map that was always defender sided, and it has plenty of exterior walls, right? But that meta like made it so even though it had the exterior walls, it was still pretty defender sided. But the attackers now are like getting closer and closer, and I don't think it's attacker sided. It might be like slightly like 1% attacker sided, I think they said, but I still think they're fairly balanced. But I just think we just need more maps like that, because if you think about it, Outback, no exterior walls. Anytime you're trying to come in, you're always jumping in through a window or coming in through a door. All the floors are soft. Like it's just too defender sided, right? Like there's too many options for the defenders and not enough options for the attackers. And I feel like that's where like the exterior walls come into play.
I know this isn't your fault at all, but it is a little fun that one of the big reasons that exterior walls was removed was because of pro feedback.
Really?
Because people generally didn't like the idea that you could just execute straight onto site. That was a big... I remember if we go a little bit further back in like Siege history, and where like people didn't like the idea of just breach a wall, then go in and plant. They wanted buffer rooms. They wanted more strategy. And that then leads to, well, now the buffer room becomes the thing you fight over, and then you still have to get the site wall as well. But then if we take a map, like one of the reasons I would like to see all maps just being forced in, I think most of our initial reaction to things are wrong. When it comes to operators, maps, sites, everything. Most operators can be used in different ways than we originally think, right? Like everyone thought Callie was going to be OP when she came out. We've mentioned that a few times. She might actually be now when she has all her stuff now with the SMG. Maybe not, but at least we need to see some play. With newer maps, as Flank mentioned, we as like normal average Joes have no idea how to play a map until there's been money on the line for it. Like we need people to look at a map and go, I don't care if I like it or not. I have to figure out how to play it. Because when we go into ranked, all we're going to do is go, we can't hold the site. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to tell our friends, and we're going to try the other bomb site and the other bomb site and the other bomb site. And then it becomes this thing where, like, how is there a developed meta on Outback? Why do we always go to the same sites when we have no clue how to play it?
Yeah.
We don't even know if we're setting up our defense in, like, the right direction. Like, Definitely. People are surprised about a hole in the floor. That, you know, they say, ooh, well, piano on Outback, for example. It's so difficult to remove the guy playing behind the boxes. Well, not really, because you can do that from below very, very easily, right? You can throw C4s through the bathroom window, through the floor. Most people don't know the floor is destructible underneath the bathroom window. Like, there are so many things that we as, like, average Joe players just don't have a clue about. If it had touched Pro League first, or at least early on, when we jump in there, we're going to know all these things, and it's easier and I think more fun for us to play as well. So I really wish they would force that. I know it sucks as a comp player having to do it over and over again, and I know what the reaction was in Border in the like private test thing before it came out. I remember people saying, dude, this map is shit. Everything's destructible. You can't be anywhere. You can only play on the fountain. And
they were right. They were right, Alex.
Well, not
I
really.
hate Border.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
But it was fun that it took a full month before anyone wanted to scrim it. Like, we had people say, no, we're perma-banning Border. We're never touching that.
Yep.
It's a horrible map. We don't want to play it. And it became their goddamn main map.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
They I think it's a shame to put the effort in to make the new map. I think that's the important thing. It's the shame to put all the work in to make a new map if we're never going to learn how to play it.
I think one new map per season isn't too much to ask, in my opinion.
I mean, I think they could do something where they do like one rework, one new map, one rework, one new map, something like that, maybe, right? Just to keep the old maps in the loop, especially the ones that don't play. I do want to go back and touch on one thing that we said before with the exterior walls. How you said, like, you know, like once you open the wall and then you can execute. I kind of like think in this meta with all the defender utility, that's not really the case anymore. If you open that wall on Consulate, 2 Maestro bubbles, 2 shields between the cars, Goyo shields, 1 shield on the pipes, 2 mirror windows in the back, right? Like, you still need to formulate that plan to execute. Like, just because you back in year 1, season 3, whatever, like you open the wall, you're like, okay, well, we can start executing. Like, we know where these guys are, we can nade them, whatever. Now it's like we have to clear these cams. We have to find the Val cams. People actually know new angles now, so you could be like, oh, there's a guy all the way in CEO looking down at the garage, like whatever the angle may be. Like, you got to formulate a plan still. So that's my thing with exterior walls, that like I would kind of like to see them making comeback, because with all the utility on defense, just because you open that wall, there's still a lot in the round to do. So, and then going back to like maps like Outback, I just find them less enjoyable to play because, like, you know, there's really not much diversity in how you can attack it. Like you said, you can go below, you could do buck, like whatever. But since that map isn't in comp, everyone defaults to the same stuff.
Right. Yep.
And then they just become not fun to play because no one wants to take the time to go into those customs or whatever. So if there was like an Outback in the comp pool, like in Pro League, like it would definitely be explored more or whatever it may be. But if that map were to have some exterior walls to the bomb site to begin with, I feel like a more like default meta could be established into ranked without even having to put it into comp at first.
Yeah, I think, you know, the one thing I'll say, you know, about Outback, I don't know that I've ever played a game of Outback that didn't go to overtime. I'm exaggerating, but I mean, it does seem like every game of Outback goes like round 9, and it's because you know a lot of the times defenders are winning every single round. So that's both frustrating but fun at the same time from like, you know, from a player who's just playing ranked. And comp, that's not really acceptable because, you know, whoever gets overtime, you don't want them to have like the huge advantage, obviously, to win the map. But I don't know. I guess, like I said, at the end of the day, from a spectator watching Pro League, I think watching you guys play on Theme Park and the New Oregon has been so fun. And I want to see more of that. Like, I wish every Pro League season they would inject one new map, whether that's a newly reworked map or a new map or something. That's what I would like to see. But
yeah, I mean, like Alex said, like it's definitely pretty frustrating, right? Like being a pro and like trying to have to learn a new map every 3 months. But like at the same time, like if you're that team to get good at that map, that could be your map, right? Like you could be so good at that map to the point where people have to ban it against you, and then all the time they put into learning that map kind of goes to waste because as of right now they're not better than you at that map. So it's kind of like Dark Zero on this New Oregon. Like I feel like Dark Zero on this New Oregon's like way better than anyone else we've played, right? Like from scrims, we thought we were pretty good at Oregon, right? Like we were like kind of like playing with the best teams, like playing pretty close, and like the teams we should be beating, we were beating pretty handedly. But then we played Dark Zero in the match, and they beat us like 7-3, 7-4. Like that just shows like Dark Zero, that's like their map right now. Like they were really good at Oregon, and I feel like that's like it's kind of like a gamble you take, right, with the hours invested into a new map. Like they could have just ignored Oregon and just like gone with what they know, but they put that time into the new map and really established like a really good meta for it.
I mean, there's also I know for a fact that there are some teams that have the strategy of kind of allowing a map to be played and then scavenge a little, right?
Yeah.
And we've seen that a little bit on Theme Park where some put a lot of work into developing some stuff. Others scrim on the map, kind of clueless, and then they scavenge and they like pick apart a few things. Go, this is a pretty good spot. This is a good spot, and then they kind of save like you could save quite a few, hours of work by doing that.
Yeah.
That's smart, but you're also gonna be a little bit of a leech. You're always gonna be behind, right?
Yeah.
Because you're just doing what the other ones did. But it's just we can see theme park leak into ranked, because when people were playing Armory in the start, everyone had this idea that it was impossible to breach, right? You couldn't do it, and this was before Ace, of course. People were, you can bandit trick, you can impact trick, it can't be done. You just can't do it. And now the wall gets open like 90% of the rounds, right? In ranked, and this is because people started seeing how to do it in Pro League. It's not something that was learned over and over and over again, right? And I know there's going to be one or two people that go, well, actually, I figured it out. I did this. That's great. But for the general like high tier Siege community in ranked, it is Pro League leaking down into the masses, right?
Definitely.
You know what's crazy? I just thought about this. I almost just forgot that theme park got reworked. Remember, like the old train?
I missed the train.
Yeah. Honestly, the old theme park was just so bad. The
gargoyle.
Yeah, I don't know. Old theme park, like there were just so much useless like space on the map. And I actually I will say I'm not a fan of the new theme park in ranked at all because it's just kind of too big of a map for me in ranked. But in comp, I don't really mind it in comp. Like I don't think it's the best map, but the way it plays is not the worst. I don't mind it, Like I dare I say I enjoy playing the map sometimes.
Actually the map size thing, I want your take on this. I think with the utility we have now in defense, scaling up the size of the maps is in favor of the attacker.
It kind of depends. Because you could have a big map, but if there's no destructibility around it, it doesn't really matter, right?
Sure.
So it kind of just depends on the map. I kind of like how they do stuff like I kind of like how they did theme park, because if you notice on theme park, half the site is breachable from above and below, and then the other half isn't, right? So you can kind of base setups around that. You can base setups where you play above, looking down. So I think like the thing with theme park, how it's like a pretty big map, you have a lot of diversity. Like you could do bunker setups, you could do roam setups, you could do like a split where you play two people above, like whatever it may be. Like there's a lot of diversity on it, but I won't say like making the maps bigger makes it attacker sided, because with the Maestro Valk meta, the bigger the bomb sites are, the more like long angles you can get with the Maestros through breaches like across the map, putting ADS as far back so it's hard for them to clear. So I guess it just kind of depends on how you look at it, but I think bigger bomb sites actually favor defenders because there's a lot more spread out areas to play.
Okay, yeah, we got to split it into if we're talking bigger bomb sites or bigger maps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because for me, the more rooms, the bigger the map is, the more you have to spread your utility if you want to have a lot of map control. That's and it's true. Very easy, not easy. It's quicker for the attackers to figure out what kind of a setup you're running on defense, because you can count how far out you start your utility waste, right?
Okay, that
so
makes
if you're
sense.
running ADSs like 2 rooms away from site, you're probably pretty extended. So I think it's more like time-wise, it's easier to read bigger maps as attack, which is counterintuitive, and I think most people would assume that smaller maps are easier to figure out.
That makes sense. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Yeah, I agree. That makes sense. You have what like when you have like these super extended setups, like you have to limit your resources, right? Like you can't stack all the ADSs for one side. For theme park, for example, like if you want to hold the east side, like toward Dragon, there's an office, there's the hallway, there's China. Like, so you can't stack all the ADS in one room because that attack is going to be coming from all 3 sides. So I definitely think it's like a lot easier to attack things like that when it's not like one funnel. Yeah. But then at the same time, I think like I said, the bigger bomb sites kind of favor defenders. There's a lot more areas to play, a lot more angles that could be established, a lot more like like you could put a Maestro all the way back by the oven, like a bubble, and look all the way to the throne breach. And like the chances that an attacker is going to clear that is like very low because, you know what I mean? Like you can establish some really good lines of sight, some good angles. You could do some pretty far impact tricks. So I definitely think the bigger bomb sites favor the defenders, but like you said, the bigger maps kind of do help the attackers because that utility spread, which I think is a good thing.
Wanted to talk a little bit about how your competitive season's going so far. Easilyy, I think at this point, you guys are 1-2, and you have yet to get your full roster back. You now have Comfy back, right?
Yeah.
You're still waiting on Slevin. But I watched half of the match last night. It was on so late I didn't get to watch the second map. But I know the first match where you guys played against DZ, you were gunning. Like you played lights out that game, man. And I know you've been putting in a lot of work. You've been blowing up on Twitch. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I think you're over 1,000 subs now.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. That's awesome,
there.
man.
Thank you.
So, like, have you put in a bunch of work like in the last 6 months or so just to try to up your game? Is it like what's been your mindset?
So my thing was like, I'll be the first to admit it. Toward like the downfall of Rogue, like I feel like I definitely like kind of fell off personally, like individually. Like I just didn't love the game as much. It's hard to love the game when you're losing, right? Like nobody likes losing. Like it's a frustrating thing getting on every day trying to scrim. And then once toward the end of Rogue, like when we got toward relegation, I kind of started to feel that fire again, and I thought I started playing pretty well. But obviously we got relegated, and getting relegated is probably like one of the worst feelings you could ever have, right? Like it's pretty much like getting fired from your job. So when I actually got this opportunity to join Sonics, originally I didn't even know it was going to be for Pro League. I thought it was going to be for CL, and I was just going to do whatever it took to get back. So, it just every day I'm streaming, playing ranked. Like, even though ranked is like torture, I'm just working on the little things that can help in my game. And then just whatever I could do to get better, whether it's watching VODs, like showing up to scrims like early, making sure I'm warmed up for scrims, like whatever that next level, like whatever it takes to get to that next level in my game, I've really just been trying to work on. And so far, I would say it's been pretty good. We haven't had the best start to the season, but it's also tough because, like you said, we're playing with substitutes, so it's kind of hard. But I mean, we're just doing whatever we can. I'm pretty proud of how we've been playing so far. Like, took a map off DZ, who placed fourth at Invite, went 7-8 with TSM, and then second map wasn't as close, but TSM placed third at Invite, and we're still playing with subs. So I think we're doing good. Me personally, I know I'm not happy with how I'm playing. I still think I could be better. So.
Yeah, I think that it's all it's got to be tough to be a pro player and to put in the time, and then for the season to start, you're under this new format, and to not have what you consider to be your full roster. But I think there's a couple bright spots for not only you guys but NA as a whole, and I think this is something I want to dive into a little bit deeper, is the young talent. I mean, obviously Iconic. On your team is somebody that I would consider part of like this young talent wave that's coming in. You look at DG. I mean, NJR is absolutely
he's a freak,
insane,
Yep.
insane. And I guess, like, do you feel like there is a young wave of talent that's threatening you? Somebody who's been more established in the pro scene for a long time. Like, does that drive you to work harder to try to keep yourself above them?
Yes and no. Mainly, like, the reason I say yes is because obviously, like, you always want to be the best, right? So when you see all these guys coming in already performing, like, you want to still be better than them. You want to show them that they can do it, right? Like, you want to be the best. But at the same time, I think the reason that these guys in specific, like Iconic, NJ, and J90 on my team all came in and are, like, pretty well is because they all, like, were on the same team, and they used to scrim pro teams every day, right? Like, they didn't even have leagues to play for. But they played every day. When they played ranked, they try to play as similar to comp as they could. And then when they're actually scrimming, they're playing to get better. They're not playing to like slap random windows with Valkyrie, spawn peak, all that, right? They're playing to get better, and it shows in their play that now they could jump straight into Pro League without playing Challenger League and already play at that highest level because they're playing like the game, kind of the way it's supposed to be played, right? Like, they're not just like picking Doc every round and spawn peeking. Iconic's always asking questions like, how can I play this better? Do you think we should do this? Do you think if I played it this way instead of this way, would it be more effective? If you need help in this spot, what would be the best way for me to help you? Like, things like that is like what separates like good, like the people who are like good mechanically from the people who are going to be like great Pro League players, in my opinion.
Can we cut that little segment and just talk about that for 2 seconds, where I think you mentioned something extremely important for people that actually want to improve. Because there are so many shortcuts and excuses for why people are saying, well, you can't get better playing ranked. And I think that's the biggest bullshit excuse in the world. If you actually want to get good at Siege, you can do that by yourself. You don't necessarily need anyone around you. If you truly just try to improve while playing ranked, you can. There doesn't have to be anything stopping you there. Like, stop hunting for kills all the time. Try to, improve playing certain spots. The small things like, is this angle better elevated or not? right? How often do I win here? And then I know there's going to be people saying, well, it's hard when I get 15 kills and my team gets none. But you're pulling out that one game where you did good, right? To compare. Yeah. Because the story you're telling about those two guys, like actually grinding for, we've had a few of those in EU as well. And they are good players. Like, they got insanely good at just beating every other player in rank, right? At no point did they ever look at it like it was important to get elo or anything. It was important to improve. And they went into it with that mentality. They didn't get tilted when they lost a game, or at least if they did, they kept quiet about it and then used it as focus and fuel for more improvement. But I think it's a pretty important thing for people to realize that this excuse they're having where, well, if you aren't scrimming, you can't ever become pro is kind of BS, right? Like, you can get to a top tier level by playing normal public matches.
Yeah.
But you're still gonna have to learn a lot of stuff in like about teamwork, communication. Sure, no doubt. But the mechanical aspect and the skill can be learned.
Oh yeah, definitely. You could learn angles. You could learn C4 spots. You could learn lineups in ranked 100%, right? I definitely think like you said, like learning the comms, learning like the positioning, learning the trading, like that's gonna come a lot faster with scrimming.
Yeah.
Especially good teams, because you'll understand like when you're a man down against a team like SSG, they're not going to give you anything back, right? They're not going to be peeking. So that's when you have to use your brain and start thinking, like, how are we going to formulate a couple kills here to get the advantage back, right? It's kind of like a whole process. Or if we're man up, 2-man up, you know they're going to start getting a little crazy, right? So we need to set ourselves up better for trades. That's not like a thought process that goes on in ranked. People in ranked are just like, I got 2 entries. Let me go for the ace. I'm going to start sprinting into the bomb site. That's kind of how it goes, right? But in comp, like you see Hyper get 2 entries. And what does Hyper do? He locks up and he waits for the rest of his team so they can set up to get trades.
Yeah.
Or Bolo gets 2 kills. He's locking up. He's waiting for the rest of his team to get there so they can formulate the trades. Like, that's one of those things where it's like, if you want to get good by only playing ranked, learn how to do that. When you're playing with your friends, instead of when you get 2 kills, sprint into the bomb site, try to get your ace. Tell your friends, all right, let's set up and let's play some numbers. Like, let's make sure we get these trades. Let's make sure we close this round out, whatever it may be. Like, that's just kind of how it has to go.
If you're playing for the ace, then you're already, like, no matter what the reason is, then you're already losing the teamwork part of everything.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
Anyone that gets, like,
100%.
2 kills and goes, dude, I can do the rest. They already started throwing.
Oh, yeah. 100%. 100%.
Like, you get 2 kills, dude, that's great. Now it's time to win, right?
Yep.
If people worried more about winning the round than getting frags, then I think everyone would improve quite quickly.
Because, like, even in ranked, right, like, if people watch my stream and they're just like, bro, how are you so patient? And I'll be like, it's a 3v1 and I'm not trying to peek the last guy outside the breach. I'm just like, bro, I'm just waiting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this guy has to come inside the bomb site and plant. Yeah. But, well, like, other people are just like, you know what? Let's try to peek this guy outside the breach and let's try to get a kill. And then that's how you throw 1v3s. Or whatever it may be, right?
If I get a 4K, I'm almost more proud of letting the 5th one go and having someone else get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we're doing an attack and I kill 4 people, I'm not going to go chase the 5th guy. I would rather win than get an ace.
Absolutely.
I do not care. Like, it's not... And I just play ranked. Like,
because if you get a 4K and you lose, you still lost the round. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or like if you get a 4K and lose, you still lost the round. But if you get a 4K and someone else gets that 5th, but you win the round, you got a fucking 4K in a round you won, and like, good job. Like, that's like just the main thing with the ranked. I feel like people just play for individual performance and like highlights more than just getting the win. And Siege is definitely like a hard game to do that because every op, pretty simple. If you're picking Ashe and just running in, you're not clearing Maestros. You're kind of screwing over the rest of your team, right? Or if you're picking Thatcher and you're not actually throwing any Thatchers, you're just picking Thatcher just to sit across on the roof and like hold a window. You're not being beneficial to the team.
That's what makes balance in this game so difficult. And one of the things that we sometimes forget to respect when we're like giving feedback on it is that between casual, the content hunters and ranked, and we can't blame them for playing like that, right? Because like maybe there isn't nothing else above for them. Maybe it is just about getting frags. And then comp. Those are 3 so different game types where balance has to lay somewhere in between because all 3 has to enjoy it. If one of them falls off, then it's no longer going to work. If comp gets too upset, they're going to be very vocal about it, and that's going to spread to the ranked players, and that's then going to spread to the casuals. If the casuals stop playing or don't enjoy it, well, then there's not going to be enough to watch comp anymore. Yep. So everyone kind of has to be this like floaty balance where you get a little of the stuff you want and somebody gets a little of what they want. But there has to be a little bit of unhappiness somewhere in the middle.
I'm working on a video right now, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Because I think it kind of has to do with what you're talking about there. What would you think about Siege interjecting a deathmatch mode right now?
Talking about just like a respawn, like, you know,
a respawn, on a team deathmatch, or free for alls type like game mode.
Let's put the hyperscape or guns and hyperscape done.
Hey, could do that.
Guns, but with the guns and hyperscape.
Yeah, no, put the siege guns in hyperscape. Done.
Like my thing with that is there's probably no downside to doing that, right? Like if you don't want to play it, don't play it. But I do think it could be a pretty good warm up. Like
absolutely.
I don't see a reason why not.
Dude, here's what led me down this thought process. The reason I'm not playing Valorant right now, I like Valorant. I've had fun with it. But I'm so behind the curve because I've never played CSGO when it comes to the mechanics in that game. I can't stand trying to learn the mechanics of that game in a non-respawn game mode. It's too punishing for me right now. I don't have the time to... I want to go into a respawn deathmatch game mode in Valorant and learn how to strafe, how to, get the habits down of not strafing while shooting and try to learn those mechanics. And it got me thinking with Siege. I really think that Siege would benefit from a deathmatch game mode. I really do. I understand why they didn't do it at launch, and I think it was the right decision to not do it at launch. I think it would have muddied the waters a little bit and messed with the vision of Siege. Siege was always going to be about those really high pressure situations, and I think that would have taken away from it at launch. But now, at this point in the game's life cycle, if they could work it out some way, I really think it could benefit this game very, very much. Just to help me, like, that's my weakest area as a player is mechanical skill. I look like a 40-year-old that I am playing this game. You know what I mean? And part of it is because, maybe I'm old, whatever. But part of it's just because I've never really learned how to be mechanically good. And everybody's faced that same problem. So I'm looking for a shortcut. I'll admit it. I'm looking for a shortcut. I want to go somewhere where I can get very efficient, constant feedback on how I'm doing mechanically as a player and practice that. And I think deathmatch would be the perfect area.
I do think. Sorry, go ahead.
No.
Okay. I do think deathmatch is good, mainly because it gives you something like consistent to warm up with against actual people, right? Like Terrorsun's not the best warm up. They don't have realistic movement. They don't, for the most part, they're always in the same spot. You already know where to aim if you do the same maps constantly. So it's a really good warm up, really good mechanical training, and it's just something that there's really no downside to having in it. It's like pretty good stream content if you kind of just want to chill, have a deathmatch session, answer some questions, like whatever it may be. And then another thing that I would really like in Siege on top of this, kind of a little different, but is like kind of like a custom match with like cheats, right? Like you have unlimited ammo, you have unlimited buck shotgun, unlimited ash charges. So that way, like, it's easier for these casual players to go into maps and learn stuff, right? Like right now, if you want to go into a map, you have to kind of, do a terrorist hunt, like purposely leave one terrorist up so you can keep refilling your buck ammo, and it's like kind of like a lot of hassle. Yeah. I think it's good to just have like a mode where you have unlimited cheats. You can fly around the map. People can open up every angle they want. They can learn. They can put unlimited maestro cams down. They can look at the angles that this maestro cam sees, or like see how this smoke is denying this plant. Like give people time to experiment. You know what I mean? I think that's just something that in a deathmatch has just been missing from Siege for too long now.
I think the last one you mentioned is way more important than a deathmatch. I would like to see a deathmatch play out, but I have a really hard time imagining how it's like. Is it going to be on any of the maps we have?
Is it going to be
destruction?
I think it would need to have its own map with no destruction, no utility, just guns.
Yeah, but at that point, is it even Siege?
Right.
Like,
Let me throw my idea out, like, because I think here's how you work it out. Defenders would have the red, like you get in the prep phase if you're a defender. That would be the whole round. So if you were a defender looking out of a window, you would have that red vision. Maybe even you couldn't shoot outside. I think that's the only way you could work it out. And then halfway through, you would switch sides. So you'd still have attack and defense, both sides would respawn. How do the defenders respawn?
But wait, that's not gonna work.
Yeah,
Why?
the thing is, once the
That
attackers are in
simply
the
won't
map,
work. If you lock the defenders into the building, forget thing about respawning, because anyone that has ever played Battlefield knows that you take exactly 2/3 of the map and then you spawn lock people, and now you're done. Now you have whatever is left of the round.
You're saying the
you
attackers would spawn lock the defenders?
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Within about 40 seconds of the round starting. And you would keep popping up and dying, and you would never move, and this would be the biggest failure Siege has ever had.
I think it has to be a free-for-all for sure, personally, if it were to happen.
Yeah, I would say 5 people on a map. Destruction, every let's say, whatever, 5 kills or 10 kills, the map flashes, everything goes back to default. Done.
Do you
like everyone gets force respawned or something? I don't know. But
do you maybe force everybody to respawn inside the map? Because I'm just thinking, how much practice would it be if you were constantly getting in gun? Think about theme park. If you were just if the majority of your kills and deaths took place outside of the map, how much practice would you actually be getting?
I don't think this would be that good for practice, to be honest. Unless you do it, the one thing that I envisioned that might actually be possible was if you imagine Bank and we played like old GoldenEye. You spawn in all the corners, right? And every time someone dies, you just spawn them in the place where there is the most distance to the next set of people, with at least one cover. But there should be some sort of utility, because otherwise, why do it? Right. Mm-hmm. We have to not play the guns that the operators have, or we have to have free operators. So you can pick 5 ashes if you want to, right?
Right.
Because if people can't practice the operators that they want, why practice?
Yeah, you can pick any operator, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe take it so there are certain things that you can't do. Like maybe you can't play shields. Because that would probably be like not that it's shitty or boring or anything, but it would probably be weird just having a Monty stand in the corner in a deathmatch. Why? Yeah. Right? Like you don't want to waste time with that. You should be shooting each other. No no C4, no traps, no any of that. Maybe like 1 grenade each, because if there's anything Siege community could use is to learn to throw these things like kind of decent.
Yeah.
So everyone has a gun. You can pick ACOG, hollow, triangle, or reflex, whatever, and then maybe you have a grenade and nothing else. When you die, you spawn in furthest away from anyone else, and it has to be in the biggest maps possible. And you're no more than 5 people in there.
Yeah, I think they would have to do a custom map for it. I don't think they could do it on any of the maps. Like, but I think a deathmatch, like whatever, like I think maybe it couldn't be a bad thing adding it. Like I think it'd be fine. But I just think they need to do a shooting range like Valorant. Like you could just set your terrorists like however you want them, and you think like you can go into any map you want. Like you have like a workshop, you could preset your terrorists where you want them, so you learn to challenge the angles that you challenge in Siege. Because the thing with Siege compared to CS:GO, it's like there's not as many open gunfights, right? Like you're challenging angles in advance that are like, for the most part, preset angles. So if you could do some kind of workshop where you can like preset terrorists and then like reset the round every time, and you know like this is the angles that I'm going to be trying to fight, and like learn how to fight like with like a preset workshop, I think that could be the most beneficial to Siege.
Yeah, I guess the thing that I really like about the deathmatch idea is I feel like it would be beneficial to me, somebody who's played this game for a long time, but also it would help with new player retention. One of the things that I mentioned with this idea is like if you're a brand new player and you go into quick match and the minutes are 3.5 minutes long, or the rounds are 3.5 minutes long, you get spawn peaked. You're now sitting idly. You could get on cameras or whatever, but you're a brand new player for the next 3.5 minutes. Then you pick your operator. Then you go back to the prep phase. Then you're back in again. And then, you know what I mean? Like, it's just really tough to get consistent feedback on the mechanical improvement in this game. And we all went through it. We all made it through. You know what I'm saying? I'm just thinking from a new player perspective, if they're like, man, I don't understand. Like, I'm playing Ash, but I don't understand what walls I can breach and what walls I can't. Now I can go into this deathmatch and practice it there.
Definitely.
I think you're getting the numbers wrong there. I don't know, but from something like CS, I think a very, 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 very tiny percentage is going to be doing this. But I do think it's going to be super valuable to them. But I think most people just jump in and play. take Valorant. I really want the training thing in Siege. I really want it, but I don't think a lot of people are actually using it in Valorant. I think it's a very tiny percent that are using it a small amount. Like, the vast majority of players are not gonna want to practice. They're gonna want to play.
That's true.
Yeah, which in some ways plays into the deathmatch point, because they want to go in and they want to play. That is playing. You know what I mean? It's not training grounds where you're shooting bots. You're playing against real players.
But you have to, like, if your argument is that it will retain new players, then you're retaining new players in a game that didn't even exist before. Then maybe that isn't really the goal. You want to retain people in Siege, so that would be within like the normal framework that we have. This should be something that's added onto, so you have extra stuff to do, and maybe another way to like farm your battle pass and get practice and all of that stuff. Like, I'm all for that. I just don't think it will be as used as we hope it will. The Golden Gun mode, I would love to get the stats for that to kind of know, because like that was pretty fun, and like that was a very different feel, right? The shotgun with the super destruction was pretty fun as well, and there was almost no prep time. Those were quick rounds, so you don't need to have it be deathmatch. It could be like that. Well, I guess that was kind of deathmatch, even though there was an objective. But it could be something like that, where the rounds are just sped up, and
like
maybe on custom maps. Or something? Yeah, exactly. Those were fun, but it would be fun to see like how. So that was out for a week, I think, or something. I would bet
2 weeks, isn't it?
2 weeks. I would bet that for the first day, the numbers were insane, and then they probably just dipped.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Probably.
Because that's what I did. I played it a ton, and then I went, yeah, that's good. And then I didn't play it more. And the same with the Western thing. I'm sure we all played it on the first day. The Boss G revolver thing.
Yeah.
Super fun, right? And then you kind of just didn't play it after that.
Yeah. If I played the deathmatch mode as much as, well, if everybody played the deathmatch mode as much as a replacement for training grounds, then in my opinion that would be worth it.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. But I don't think a lot of people play Tian.
Yeah.
I mean, they could always mix up like the kind of like mode they do too. Like 1 week it could be headshots only. 1 week it could be like accelerated rounds. Like, you know what I mean? Like they could mix it up to like keep that new interest going, right? Like we said, like you play like the first day, maybe 2, maybe 3 days, but then you kind of get bored. So you can refresh it every once in a while, and like, you know, give people an incentive to play. Maybe even put like to test it at the start. Maybe put some like, I don't know, like make it like count toward the battle pass or whatever it may be, right? Just something to keep people going. Just try it out at least, and then maybe you know there's gonna be those people that are like, you know what, this is better practice aim wise than Terror Zone, so let's just, or training grounds, whatever. Like let's stick to this.
Give us a skin after 1,000 headshots, so we have a reason to stay on the same account.
Yeah.
Something like that. That like. I've been saying that too. Yeah, there needs to be some kind of incentive, like some good skins or whatever, like for playing on the same account. Because especially as someone known in the community, like it's better to play on an account that people don't know who you are.
Yeah,
like most of the time.
This trust factor thing. Do you remember the talk about all that?
Yeah.
When I think it was an Invitational they were talking about. They wanted to do this trust factor thing. And there hasn't really been anything public about it. I really hope we get to hear something about that soon. And I don't know. I kind of want them to explain what it is, but I also want them to just keep it a complete secret so we have no idea. Just so it can't be abused. But imagine all the good stuff that could be if you took enough data. If you look at abandoned sanctions, if you look at TKs, if you look at how many flags people have for like shitty chat logs, and how much have they been reported for griefing, stuff like that.
How much do they play shields?
or wait, or Valk, Legion, Flash. Is there anything? Well, Malisi.
We'll call it the get flanked rating.
Yeah, flank rating. Yeah. If you play more than one in every game, you get a negative flank rating. But you can take quite a lot of info from just like player behavior, I'm sure, and kind of mock people in different, like how likely are they to actually be decent teammates. Maybe if it's the same player who just always like if you can go in and see that they insta-lock the same operator within 2 seconds of every round, and then they go in and die every round, right? Like, I don't know if you should necessarily like flag people for that. Maybe that's a little bit too hardcore. But if there's someone like force picking Ashe every single round and always having a KD like less than 0.6, that's a pretty bad teammate.
Yeah.
Right? In a team game. Maybe they are in a rank where that reflects it, and that's all cool and dandy. But that could be kind of sick if we get some sort of like proper split of people with high trust factor play against each other. So the people that aren't TKing, the people that have never had a toxicity ban on their account, for example, will have a higher chance of getting with people that have never had a toxicity ban on their account.
Yeah.
Because there's quite a lot of people, man, that have had like a 3-day or 6 or 7-day or something, right? For being a little bit of a dick at some point. And maybe I don't know, maybe they're less likely to do it again after that, or maybe they're more likely. I don't really know the numbers behind that. But I really want to see what that does. That combined with the cheating precautions they're trying to take. I really hope we get a better overall day-to-day experience, because it's been a long time since it's been this like grim, right? And even though it's like the game's, it's not more buggy than it was 2 years ago. We're just getting reminded of it all the time, and I think that creates a little like it's a weird atmosphere to play in when you have all of these things at the same time, right? Like everyone's reminding. Like Twitter is just one big thing where this bug, this bug, this bug. You have the cheaters, you have the DDoS, a little bit of server issues when we had the whole DDoS protection thing happening in EU. Like everyone was DCing left and right for a couple of days. And you remember those, right? Like it doesn't go away after. Like even though it's fixed now, the DDoS thing, people are still sitting there thinking, it's the server's fault. So if we could have like one clean season just to reset everything, where there was like things worked fully, damn, that would be good.
Like another Operation Health kind of thing, definitely would.
Well,
be nice.
I don't think that Operation Health is going to do anything, because that was there to change the framework so it's easier to repair things now, right? And oh my god, that doggo is cute.
Yeah.
My man Harvey. But yeah, no. Go ahead.
I don't think we need like a full Operation Health. I just want to fast forward like 6 months or something, because we know they're doing all the quality of life things, right? Like they slowed down the production of operators to do some quality of life stuff, and it hasn't been that long. Like we're 5 months since Invitational, where all of this was talked about, right? And some of the things are implemented. Or when we get the new ping system, I was going to say the Overwatch system, the replay system, some of those things, like barricade rework has kind of gone like we kind of all forgot about that.
Yeah,
but that's a pretty damn big thing.
But even that took a while. You know what I mean? That didn't come in without its headaches initially, because remember how you were banding?
Without a doubt.
But yeah, now at present day, this is beautiful.
We gotta be like. We have to take a little bit of responsibility as a community and be decent as well, because we're sitting here like arrogant pricks comparing to CS, right? A game that is 20 years old and has no complexity when it comes to gameplay. The most complex thing in CS is if you can math out if you can afford to buy an AK next round. That's about it, right? You're not gonna have to figure out how a bullet goes from one end of the map through 3 barricades, hits a battery, and that removes an electricity from a wall that has been reinforced that is about to be blown up. There's so many things in Siege that just makes it stupid complex. And there's going to be more bugs.
Absolutely.
Siege is never going to be clean like other esports. It will never happen. But on the other hand, they're never going to have the cool shit we have. So,
like my only thing with like having another Operation Health is like that they could take that time to like stop worrying about having to bring out all this new content and just strictly focus on fixing like what's wrong with it. And I feel like when you have like that 3-month season where they do that and they clean up a lot of the little issues, it's gonna make it seem like for at least like maybe the next 3 to 6 months that, you know, we're not having that many bugs. and obviously new bugs are going to come. Like you said, it's never going to be perfect. But I feel like maybe every like 2 years you do like a 3-month Operation Health where you kind of just like, put the new content to the side and let's just focus on just fixing like some of the main issues. And I think that's always like a pretty good thing in esports.
But I think they split up the cells though. Now I'm not sure of this, but I'm pretty sure that the way the structure is now, that the ones that are making new operators, or the ones that are like making a new thing, aren't ever going to be the ones that are going to be fixing
really?
certain bug somewhere.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on this, but
I'm pretty sure you're right about that. The team that
I
I
think it's
interacted
like
with,
cells, right?
the team that I interacted with, at least in Barcelona, like they didn't really have, at least from what I saw, they didn't really have anything to do with like fixing bugs or anything. It was all about game design, balance, and operator design and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that I agree with both of you in the sense, like I really want to see some quality of life improvements. One thing that I'm really excited about is the replay system. We talked in the beginning about the closet cheaters. In my opinion, that will be the end all be all. Like if you play a match against somebody, you think that they're cheating, if you go back in and review it, turn outlines on, and if they're sitting there tracing you, the whole match, they got walls. Like that's gonna
at least they're gonna have to hide it good enough that you're not noticing it, and then you're not gonna care.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's fine enough for me.
Yes.
Like I don't care if the other guy's wall hacking if I don't know.
I completely agree.
Honestly,
the replay system is needed so bad, and I don't think I mean obviously the obvious things are the competitive side for you guys, being able to review matches and stuff. Whether or not it's available in custom games, I'm not sure, but
they have to make that so you can turn it off. They have to.
Yeah, I think it'll have to be turned off, because if not, like it's gonna be, you're not gonna see pro teams scrum any other pro teams if that's the case.
Yeah. So anyway, I that's one of the things I'm really like, that you were talking about what all they announced at the Invitational that we haven't seen yet: the Ping 2.0, the trust system, the replay system. Dude, if we get all three of this
stuff.
What's that?
The 5v5 stuff, the in-system league stuff.
Oh yeah, that too.
You're saying like the competitive within the game, like
they had some sort of a hub where they showed that you can make your group and queue.
Mm-hmm.
I want that.
Yeah,
I want to see what that's about for sure. I think that could be that might be some like
that could be a game changer.
That might be something to do with like how Faceit is like doing the NA League now, and like the EU League, like Faceit's running it. So like that could be like an in-game FPL, not like I don't want to say FPL, but you know what I mean, like
I know
there's like a queue system. So I think that could be definitely interesting. I definitely think something like that in Siege is really good, mainly because in ranked, like there's really nothing to play for other than elo. So if you have like a Faceit elo, like that's also in game, like whatever, like level 10 in Faceit, like if you can get that on Rainbow, like I think people would transition.
And they gotta show us who we're queued with.
Yeah,
that's another
thing. Yeah, because like right now it's like you're really not playing for anything in ranked other than a charm. So you could even do a system where you get like league charms or league play charms or FPL charms, like whatever, through that in-game matchmaking system for like Faceit or whatever. I don't even know if it's Faceit.
It could also be a gateway into watching Pro League for a lot of casual players out there. Like maybe they only play ranked, they've never watched a Pro League match in their life. They see this, they go in, they play Pro League rules, and there's all of a sudden they have an interest in maybe watching Pro League because they're closer to it now. They understand it more.
Definitely.
Isn't that a fun thing, by the way, that we like when you're playing ranked, the main thing that people are focusing on is to unlock a charm. Like that's like no one sits there going, you know what, I would rather be plat 3 but have improved a ton, or would you rather stay the skill level you are but get the charm? Like most people just want to get the charm.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, absolutely.
It's weird that we want something in exchange for improvement. I don't know where that started. It has to be some of these like fear of missing out kind of things, or showing off, or I don't know, like old school shooters where it was FFA or team deathmatch. There's none of that. Like you showed in the server how good you were.
Yeah.
Right. You didn't need to. You didn't come with like an accolade sticked on your gun that said I'm top 100. That wasn't important. People would know if you were top 100.
Yeah. They don't know how good you were, for sure.
Yeah.
Last thing I wanted to mention here, guys, and we can kind of wrap it up. Have either of you guys played Hyperscape? I know that you have, Zoronic. Easilyy, have you messed with it at all?
I've watched it a little bit, but I haven't actually had a chance to play it yet.
I've only played a couple of games. My initial thoughts, I think there's a lot of potential there. I hit scan sniper. I'm not sure about that, but I will say the movement is hectic enough where it's not easy. It wasn't easy for me to snipe. I'll say that. But it seems kind of strange to me that they would make the snipers hit scan. I think there's a lot of potential there. I think that they brought enough new elements to where I'm interested in playing it more. Yeah, what do you think, Zoran?
Quick on the sniper, it has to be hit scan because the movement's too high.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'll simply never hit. So look at it more like a railgun than anything else because it's pretty much Unreal Tournament on steroids and BR. For me, the biggest thing is that it runs on the Siege engine. So that means that the sensitivity, everything is 1-to-1.
Yep.
The settings, everything. I assume that like things can go forth and back between them. There's name scrambler inside of Hyperscape.
Yep.
So hopefully that's something that we can get in Siege. That would be kind of neat. And for me, it's a pretty good just warm up because I don't feel like if I've played Hyperscape, I'm worse at Siege afterwards. It doesn't mess with my sense. Whereas if I go to play Tarkov, because there's different movement values and how you're weighted or what kind of like momentum you have forth and back, the sensitivity changes. Mm-hmm. If I play Tarkov and I go to Siege, my boomer brain can't keep up. And it takes me like 4 games of Siege to even figure out how to like do a 180 without over flicking or under flicking, right? Yeah. With Hyperscape, that's no problem. And it's fun. It's super fast paced. I've played it a lot with Kendra and Doki, and yeah, I mean it's not revolutionary, super special. It's super simple, which is actually what I think makes it decent.
Yeah, I think that's what a BR has to be, right? Like it's something that you can just go in, have some fun for a couple games, like not
exactly.
Like it's not like a Rainbow where you're gonna sit there for like 10 hours a day, maybe, right? You're just going on for like
you can literally launch this and play a full game and out the 4 out within 20 minutes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could have won a game. If you have 20 minutes time, you can go in, queue up, play a full game, win it, and log out again within 20 minutes. That's pretty damn fast. And there's no like inventory or loadout to deal with, right? You have 2 abilities, and you have 2 guns. That's it. Done. Nothing else. So it's super simple.
I'm excited to play it more. I am. I think that, like you said, the fact that it's on the Siege engine, if you're a Siege fan, you're not interested in BR, I think there still could be some good stuff that comes from this for you.
I mean, they have a training ground.
Yeah.
Oh, do they really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So you can actually go in. I think this would be a tip. So there's a gun called the Ripper, right? Which is an AR. Recoil doesn't really translate to Siege. It's a lot more steady. But the sensitivity does. So you could go in to training ground with bots and flick around with the same sensitivity.
Might have to give that a try, to be honest. I might have to give that a try.
What a world we live in. The things that Siege players will do. All right. Anyway, all right. Easilyy. I'm going to have your Twitch and your Twitter linked down below. Like I said, you've been really grinding on Twitch, man. I think that's awesome, man. Keep it up. Good luck for the rest of the season. Thank you so much for joining us on this. It was awesome. Come back one of these days, okay?
Oh, of course, man. I appreciate you guys having me. I thought we had a really good discussion. It was really good talking to you guys. Appreciate you guys having me. And then whenever you want me back.
Anything else that I need to put down there other than your Twitch or Twitter?
Not really. That's about it. I stream pretty much every day, so if you guys ever want to tune in. But yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a blast. If you want to watch Kevin on play in the R6 NA League, I keep saying Pro League. I gotta change that. If you want to watch him play on the big stage, then just anytime the Susquehanna Sonics are playing, you'll see Kevin in there slamming it down. So again, good luck for the remainder of the season, man. And, thank you.
Anything else you want to say there, Alex?
No.
All right.
I'm good. Thanks, Kevin.
All right.
No problem, guys. Thank you.
See you guys. We'll see you guys in the next week.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.